Well, it's hard to tell, but I'm standing in my camper, staring out the window, trying to get myself excited about going up into the woods tomorrow, where the weather will be exactly the same or possibly worse. So since I will definitely be out in the rain tomorrow, I want a waterproof hat. So I thought I'd give this Rust-Oleum Never Wet a chance to work. This is a $4 ball cap, and the product says if you spray it on fabric, it may leave a discoloration. So that's why I'm going to use my $4 Walmart cap. No big deal if it looks shitty afterwards. And here's what it looks like after the base coat. And there's definitely some, oh god, solvents in there. So I got to let that sit for 30 minutes and then apply several layers of top coat to it. So here's my hat after 4 coats. You can see didn't really do a very good job of covering it evenly, but it did leave a bit of a whitish fuzzy haze or coating to it. It actually looks okay on this hat, but if I put this on an expensive garment, I would probably not be pleased with the results. Anyhow, I'm going to find out tomorrow if it's actually waterproof, because I will be wearing this in the rain. So I'm going to rehydrate my spaghetti that I made a couple weeks ago, see how it worked out. And the tricky part about this is learning how much water to add, because the line between soup and crunchy is razor thin. Let's see, I'm just going to make half of that for now. Keep my arm out of the way here. So I'm just going to put enough in to kind of cover it up. And then the other thing I'm learning about rehydrating dehydrated foods is it takes a lot longer than you think. Give it more time than less. It's not like Mountain House. That's freeze-dried and it rehydrates pretty quickly. This probably takes about 2 to 3 times as long if you want it to actually taste the way you think it should taste. It is out of the pot. I was really hoping it was going to be a little more saucy looking. Let's give it a taste test. It's hot. I didn't add anything like salt or pepper to it. It's just a plain sauce in there. So it tastes okay. Definitely needs a little salt and pepper and probably a shot of Parmesan. Which is the nice thing about Parmesan is you can store that generally in refrigerated. So not terrible, but not fantastic like I hoped it would be. Alright, what we're looking at here is Fern Bark making some of his not yet famous chicken soup. I got 2 leftover chicken carcasses in here, and carrots and onions and the rest of the usual suspects. It might look a little dark because the chicken that I'm using would be whole chickens that I barbecued. And then when you do that, you get lots of the black stuff off the skin kind of goes loose in the water. It looks a little weird at first, but it tastes amazing. While that's going on, I'm dehydrating some sausage. And what I'm going to do is a sausage and beans dehydrated dish, and we'll see how that turns out. And then what I'm trying right here is this is chicken that was out of a can. And when chicken is canned, they're usually canned under pressure, which processes the chicken at a higher temperature. And it's supposed to dehydrate more tenderly than chicken just, that you cooked. So we'll see how this turns out. Well, this is cooked as long as it is going to cook. And believe it or not, the entire skeleton is still inside this pot, which leads me to the inevitable task of taking all the things that aren't soup out of this soup. Which means I gotta dip my hand into scalding hot chicken bones and take them out. So I'm going to go ahead and let that drain a bit and cool down before I put my hands into it. In the meantime, this is a good time for you to go all get up and get something to drink, relax, whatever. So in the bag I have the carcass in bits and pieces that are kind of gross, and then this bowl has more of the meaty bits, and this is the pickings from 2 carcasses. So basically what you're looking at is what you probably would have thrown in the trash after a couple of chickens, and then I picked out the bits that were actually still there. It's stunning how much meat is actually left on the chicken after you boil it and it comes free of the bone. And then this is my pot of stock, which I'm going to go ahead and put in the fridge overnight. And what that's going to do is the fat is going to congeal on the top, and I'll just pick the fat out, and then when I make my soup it won't be greasy. Okay, I let this sit overnight in case there was a lot of fat on the top. There's just a little bit. The whiter bits are fat, and there's not enough there to really collect out of this pot. And then what you see underneath there is kind of a translucent goo, and that is the gelatin that escaped the bones, and that's all the flavor, so you do not want to pull that out of there. So I'm going to go ahead and heat this up, put my chicken back in it, and make some dumplings. I'm just going to drop some dumplings in. This is just some Bisquick. It's a recipe off of Bisquick. You're going to want to put them in there pretty small. They're going to really puff up. Okay, here are my dumplings, and in about 30 minutes we're going to have soup. For the last 3 hours that bird has been sitting on that windshield wiper. Then every once in a while it flies up towards the top of the window on the back there and tries to rest, but it can't get a grip, and then it slides back down. 3 hours, no kidding.
No!